I feel like I be coming on this app and I don't even introduce myself, and it's just so rude. So, good day, good people. My name is Elizabeth Opperum, and I am a soul wellness coach and the up and coming author of Misunderstood: How to Elevate Your Consciousness to Spark Your Intuition and Live the Life That You Desire. I am a survivor of domestic violence. Your girl made it out. And I wrote my book with the intention of understanding myself on the level of how did I even get introduced to domestic violence? How was it that I was susceptible to domestic violence? And going through that experience just caused me to take a journey of self-discovery, and really understand what it was about me that caused me to attract such a negative experience. And as I was, understanding myself, I had other questions, and I was wondering if there were other women out there in the world who desired to live a more fruitful life, but they didn't really know how to get there. And my book explains how I went from being abused to being free from abuse, and the steps that I had to take, and the mindset shifts that I had to make, and then also the belief system that I had to create surrounding my life so that I could believe that I was worthy and deserving of a situation that was not filled with toxicity and just a situation that was just unhealthy for me. So my goal is to help as many women as I can to go on a journey of self-discovery, and by way of radical transparency, to get down to the root cause of why they may have been in a certain space, or why they may have attracted a certain type of partner or a certain type of situation. Abuse is never your fault, right? And when you are coming up out of it, you have to take a look at yourself. You have to put that mirror up and not be afraid to look inside of it and say, hey, how did I get here? What was it about me that caused me to get here? And as I explored these different types of questions and asked myself different types of essentially ask myself different types of questions. The deeper the questions are, the more clarity that you will receive regarding, how you are, and the type of situations that you may be susceptible, or the type of people that you may attract. So with that being said, I will be continuing to share my journey of how I got to the point of writing a book, and just be as open as possible about my process, because it has been a journey. It has been something that I have never experienced before, and there have been a lot of moments where imposter syndrome just came and pretty much knocked me out and made me feel as if I couldn't do this, even though it comes to me so naturally. So one of the biggest things that I have been learning thus far, or really one of the biggest things that I have been carrying with me, is the fact that when you lead with radical transparency, when you operate out of integrity, and when you create a belief system, these are some of the most crucial things that will help you to dismantle whatever limiting beliefs, whatever residual traumas that may reside within your bones, within your body, and it helps you to get on the other side of it, and to also understand a little bit more about the type of generational trauma that has been passed down that we inherit. We can't forget that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that our bloodline has survived up until the point where now we are alive. So this journey, my book, it is all to help those of us who desire a deeper connection with self, a deeper connection with God, the universe, nature, the Most High, however you view, the source energy that we come from. It's to help build a better relationship with it, so that you are able to maneuver out of a space of gratitude and focus more on productive behaviors and patterns and habits, versus things that kind of keep us stuck, or things that keep us trapped. one thing that I have learned is that staying silent is what kills. I was in a situation where me being silent almost killed me. And I know that there are other women who are in situations who do not feel that they have a voice, who can't even find their voice. They're not even thinking that they can find their voice. And I really want to help women to understand that when you find your voice and when you are able to speak and be proud in what you're saying, and come and speak from a space of compassion and understanding, I believe it will help to give you the opportunity to live a better life and to get to the next step and to achieve those goals that you have. So, putting yourself in the space to be open to change and to receive the tools that are necessary for change. It definitely does take time to develop that mindset and to get into that frame of mind, to keep up with your own momentum. And I just want to share that. I feel like I have learned a lot. I'm still learning so much. But I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't share more about my story and more about even my process of getting there. I wrote my book in 2019, and I had this idea to write it in the form of my diary, right? Essentially, it was just, I was going through the motions of whatever was in my diary. And then I had linked up with different writing coaches. I had joined a writing program, and it opened my mind up to the type of book that could be more impactful and focus less on the trauma of your life and more of the lessons and the resiliency that was built based on said trauma. And the closer I got to publishing my book, the more afraid I got. And it got to the point where I became paralyzed with fear. I just could not move forward, even though I literally had all of the tools. I literally had every single thing that I needed to put my book forth. But it's just that because I didn't believe fully within myself, and there were still, some limiting beliefs that, I had to get up out of here, it made it harder for me to connect with my purpose and to really, believe in my passion. And as time has progressed, I have been developing my faith. I have been deepening my spiritual journey and allowing myself to be mind my business. People just out here just beeping crazy in these streets. But it allowed me the opportunity to get more in alignment with myself and with what God has been calling me to do. But it hasn't been easy, especially when, you don't have any blueprint. Like, yes, you can look at other people who are doing certain things, but if you don't see it immediately around you, like if you don't see your family members doing it, if you might not have friends doing it, or if you're in a social circle where there is a little bit of stagnation, or, people just aren't moving the way you move in, it's going to be harder for you to connect with your purpose because you're around people who are not purpose minded, right? You're around people who are just kind of like moving around willy-nilly, not really giving a care about how they're showing up in life, not introspecting and not, reflecting on how their actions might be affecting others. And you get to a point where you kind of have to sit down and say, hold on, like what is really going on? What am I doing? And when I asked myself, what am I doing? And I took a look around the people that I was with, and I realized, okay, you know what? Some of these people they don't get it, right? And trying to explain certain things to people who just don't get it, it became exhausting. And then it kind of made me feel like almost fraudulent in a sense, because on one hand, I am changing who I am. I'm moving into this new space. I'm being reminded of how I am and starting to walk in the image that God created me as. And then on the other hand, I'm holding on to my lower self because she's so familiar. And, you know, I love the connections that I made, and, you know, I love some of the habits that I have because I'm used to the habits that I've had. But it got to the point where I could no longer balance both, and it essentially, what I was experiencing was cognitive dissonance, because I was still holding on to two different I was holding on to conflicting beliefs and habits within me, knowing that, you know, even though being in alignment with higher self was a little bit difficult because I had never been that person, there was just so much ease in being that person. And I think how easy it was kind of scared me. So just learning how to be more faithful and having that devotion to self, that, okay, I believe in this thing. Even if nobody sees it for me, even if nobody believes it for me, I believe it for me. So it's my responsibility to set my own tone, because that's then what's going to be perpetuated. So fast forward, wrote the book. I'm in this group, you know, I'm doing my thing. Mind you, the whole time I'm scared. I'm just terrified, still terrified, but now I'm more excited because I see the alignment. I feel the alignment. I'm more comfortable in, you know, walking with authority and being powerful. You know, God put me in this big body. I'm 5'9", over 200 pounds. So it's just like, I take up space, and learning the importance of taking up space and being comfortable and confident in it has helped me to get more on the excited side and to move with faith and to let go of fear, because at the end of the day, fear is going to keep you stagnant. Fear is going to crush your dreams, and fear is going to cause you to shrink yourself. And unfortunately, being fearful, in my case, almost caused me to die. So it's like I had to make the decision to be faithful and to move into a season of devotion so that I could do the things that God knows that I can do. So like I said, I was in this group. I was, you know, doing things, still very pensive, but, you know, got to the point where I finally finished my manuscript, was super duper proud of myself. And then I got to the point where I hosted my first workshop. It was a 4-part series, and I spoke about my framework, Give It a Rest. And I provided tips and tools to the community that I was in, to the women that I was speaking with. And we did this for 4 weeks. And again, I was scared, but God told me, like, baby girl, you got this. Just keep moving. Like, even if you don't know what you're doing, just at least try it. And I tried it, and I was able to secure my first client. So, well, technically that was my second client, because the space that I utilized, shout out to the Garden by the Bay, they were actually my first client who allowed me to host a workshop there. And then from there, I got my first private client. And I'm doing the thing with my client. I'm helping her. She's opening up, and she's becoming more in alignment with the type of person that she desires to be. And I'm helping her to do whatever it is that she needed to do, whatever her goal was. I was helping her to set the tools and put everything into motion so that she could accomplish her goals. And while this was happening, when I tell you, the mirror that my client was putting up to me was something that caused me to have an existential crisis, on top of already having like my 3rd, 4th, or 5th existential crisis. And I just could not handle the mirror that she put up to me, because I'm helping her to do certain things, right? And then I need to do those same things, and I'm not doing it for myself. So I kind of started to feel like a fraud. Like the imposter syndrome came through, and my inner critic was like, well, how are you going to tell her to do these things if you're not doing these things? And I kept focusing on the things that I was not doing, and that I allowed that to overshadow all of the work that I had done thus far, and it caused me to go back into my shell and to shrink myself again. And it just didn't make me feel good. I felt more out of control and untethered because I just couldn't handle what was being revealed to me. And the thing about it is, I have no problem with my truths, right? I have no problem with my truths. But the issue came up because I had not reconciled certain things about myself. Like, there was still some shame, there was still some resentment, there was still some embarrassment that I had deep within my psyche that I later found out was connected to my inner child, that I had not fully addressed, or like I had begun to address it, but I like barely scratched the surface. I needed to dive way deeper into it and have a more in-depth conversation about the types of things that I was experiencing and how they were affecting my life. So, I stopped coaching after that because I'm just like, well, how the hell am I going to be a coach if I'm not even, putting the things together how I'm telling my client to put the things together? And I realize now it was less about what I wasn't putting together and more about what I have put together. I was able to get myself from point A to point B. And I was diminishing all of the work that I did because all I was focusing on what I hadn't done, or the things that I still felt like I needed to complete or accomplish, or whatever the case is. I kept focusing on lack. And then I started to realize, okay, wait, hold on. We've got some deep rooted like scarcity things going on. Like, how is it that I feel so aligned with lack and scarcity when God is trying to show me and also revealing to me how abundant I am? Oh, am I gonna make this light? Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. But yes, God was trying to show me, baby girl, you are abundant. You've been abundant. Like, everything about you is abundant. Whether you see it or not, you are abundant. And I really had to shift my perspective and my mindset yet again, because the thing about elevation and the thing about ascension is that there's levels to it. So yeah, you may go from level 1 to level 2, but once you get to level 2, it's kind of like you're back at level 1, because now you have to learn who you are and how you are at this level. And then you have to just kind of keep adding those building blocks onto it in order to keep up with your own momentum. And once I started to do that, help me to rebuild my confidence and get me back in the space of, okay, I can do this. What I say is valuable. How I am is, I am enough, and my words are important. Like, my words are important. And writing comes to me so easily. So there's nothing wrong with utilizing gifts that come to you naturally. Like, there's nothing wrong with getting paid well to do the things that come naturally to you. And we get caught up in this cycle of capitalism where you got to work hard, you got to grind, you got to get up in the morning, go to your job, you got to commute, you put in your 7.5 hours, your 8 hours, your 9 hours, your 10, your 11, your 12 hours, whatever long your shift is. You put those hours in, you give all this to a company that most of the time doesn't give back to you, and then you got to come home, make dinner. And I'm doing all this and I don't even have children yet. So for the people who have children, I can only imagine, how their lives are compounded. But for me and my cat, this is the life that we live in right now. And sometimes, it can be a bit much. But what I realize is that when you have faith in what you're doing, you're always going to be okay. Even in moments where you don't think you're going to be okay, having that faith and acknowledging that there's a lot that is above you that you cannot control, the level of freedom that comes from that, the level of surrender that comes with that, it's just something that is necessary for you to really live a life that is truly abundant, and to really live a life that is in alignment with your highest purpose. So now we are in the space of publishing our book. I have my book cover done. I'm in the process of working with the copy editor to make sure, the formatting is good and, everything makes sense and it flows. The one thing that I was concerned about before is the fact that because the book is written from my voice, and how we speak as Black people, that vernacular and whatnot, I don't want that to be misconstrued as me saying something incorrectly when that's just how that particular phrase is said. So I am, paying attention to that aspect, because I think I saw it. Somebody had posted, I think it was on Threads somewhere, that was a concern of theirs, how, we use the vernacular or the ebonics or whatever you want to call it, and they just didn't want their work to be edited in a way that takes out that voice, and that sense of self. So I'm excited about this process. I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful that I have chosen myself. Like I choose to show up. I choose to be present. I choose to allow grief to teach me. I choose to look at things through a lens of, it's going to be okay. I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. So I'm hoping that, once my book does get out there into the ethers, I'm really hoping that people pick up on that and that they're able to take my words and cultivate a life that is worth living, because we are here. We were chosen to live this life for a reason. And I really, really, really hope that people can agree with that, and also, just really get jiggy with the fact that we are abundant people, and there are just certain situations that happen that cause us to forget. And my hope is that my book will help people to remember. So the goal is that by the end of the month, she will be published. She will be available on Amazon. We are also going to be available on our website. And again, my goal is to just open up myself and share more about my process, about my story, how I got here, and the things that I have learned, so that people can continue to live their lives in a way that is aligned with their highest and best selves. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with the world. I'm looking forward to just being in service and of service. And I'm just really excited about this next chapter. So check it out. What do these people say when they end their videos? Like, share, subscribe. This is my channel. My laughter is medicine, and I'm on a joy journey. I'm on a grief journey. I'm just here journeying through, and I want to share what I've been learning on this journey, because I've been learning a thing or two. I mean, granted, I still know nothing, but I have been learning a lot, and it's time for me to share. So yeah, okay, bye.